With Bungie's Destiny just releasing and Halo Master Chief Collection coming out very soon, Halo 2 is about to turn 10 years old, so I'm doing a retrospective on it. Ah, yes, Halo 2. That screen takes me back when all I had to worry about was slaughtering hordes of aliens and how school was going. In fact, that's pretty much all I have to worry about now. Halo 2 starts the story with Master Chief and all the crew getting awards for their acts of bravery for blowing out the first Halo ring. Anyway, on the other side of the galaxy, one of the presumed generals of the Covenant is being subjected to the alien version of being court-martialed for his failure to protect it. The Covenant are a group of aliens that just want to activate Halo because they will believe it will guide them on something called the Great Journey. The Great Journey is where they light the ring and, as the prophets foretell, will launch a great fire and cleanse the universe, bringing all that are worthy to greatness. And, of course, this is either a lie or they are greatly misled, as in the first game, it was established that Halo is a weapon that will kill all life. The game begins much like the first. The Covenant are invading your ship, and you must protect it. The first two levels introduce the enemies that you'll be seeing throughout the game. There is one problem, though, and that would be one of the new enemies. You have your standard hunters, elites, grunts, and there are two new enemies. One of them being the flying elites, and the second being the drones. I fucking hate the drones. I have the same relationship with the drones as Some Call Me Johnny has with the splicers in Sonic 2. Drones are essentially hornets. They fly around, make loud, irritating noises, and swarm you. I'm thoroughly convinced that Bungie knew I was going to do this review, knowing I was going to have problems causing me to play their fucking game 3 times, and put these things in just to annoy me. Every time I see one of these things, there are at least a billion more where they came out of. And did I mention I fucking hate them? Every time I see one, I just make a mad dash for the next checkpoint and hope their spam fire doesn't rape me. Anyway, the mission ends with you killing the Covenant, guarding the bomb, deactivating the bomb, dragging it to an airlock, opening the airlock, and of course, Chief has all the luck on his side, so he grabs the bomb, pilots it into the Covenant battleship with nothing but the power of luck and sheer awesomeness, activates it, kicks it away, blows it up, and lands safely on top of a human ship. In other words, badassery for dummies. The third level starts off with a standard cutscene with Johnson giving some comic relief, but that normalcy quickly buys a one-way ticket to yeah, that just fucking happenedville when this happens. Yes, that was a giant indestructible walking spider tank with a laser for a face. Yes, I just came a little, and yes, I'm furiously trying to earn a Nobel Prize for finding a way to copy-paste that into my life. So, the third level is just a big build-up to the fourth. You fight some aliens, the big bad hunters show up, you fight them for a while unless you have a sniper rifle, in which case you just shoot them in their brightly orange-colored no-no spots and insta-kill them. Then you go down some alleyways, fight more enemies, and more fucking buggers. Seriously, those things are fucking everywhere in this game. It has you go through a tunnel where the Covenant are trying to regroup. You're tasked to stop them. The fourth level starts you off in a tank and a mission to cross a bridge. While crossing this bridge, you're bombarded with ghosts. Things are starting to get exciting. You drive across the bridge, blowing the fuck out of everything that comes with an eye shot, and in doing so, you realize that the tank is the best human invention ever. Shooting explosive projectiles at a high velocity in what is essentially a giant plate of armor on treads, being a near indestructible force? Yes, please? And as you go through another tunnel, shooting the tits off of everything that you come into contact with. Now, as you might have noticed, I'm killing all my allies, and I am luring a Banshee into the tunnel. I'm not doing this to be a dick, well, that too, but I'm not doing it just to be a dick. Remember that giant indestructible walking spider tank with a laser for a face mentioned earlier? Well, Bungie actually hid a gun in the game that allows you again to be a near indestructible force. It is that thing. Now, at first glance, it might just seem like a normal plasma rifle, but it's not. As you can see, it shoots the same laser that the giant indestructible walking spider tank with a laser for a face shoots. And yes, that is as fun as it sounds. The only way this gun would be more fun to use would be if it had giant tits attached to the end. No, but instead of that, whatever is in the general direction of your gun when it happens to be firing just instantaneously blows up. So in other shorter words, boom boom super happy fun time. You climb into the Scarab, kill everyone in it, blow it up, and level 4 is over.
That's right, you mothers! Run!
Levels 5 and 6 have you play as the Arbiter. The Arbiter was the aforementioned presumed General of the Covenant. His execution for not stopping the destruction of the ring was supposed to be a public hanging by his entrails. But the prophets of truth, mercy, and regret, what you would get if you cloned the Pope 3 times and turned them all into aliens, decided his execution would be to turn him into what is essentially a general with worse gear and send him on suicidal missions. Which, yes, makes almost no sense, but it makes for good gameplay, goddammit. The things you fight in these missions are essentially the same as the Covenant, but reskinned to be heretics. The heretics are basically jackals, elites, and grunts who defected from the Covenant because they saw through the lies that the prophets told, and decided to go against them, which to the Covenant is heresy and must be quelled. The main mission is to find the leader of the heretics and kill him. But the heretic leader is a sneaky bastard, constantly evading the player and eventually locking himself in a room that's impenetrable. So the player must fight their way through countless enemies, or just camouflage their way past them, and cut the cables holding up the room and force him out. Overall, it's a pretty good mission. Before I go on, though, there are two things I must address. One is the Arbiter levels in general, and the other being about this level specifically. The first thing is that the Arbiter has camouflage, making him invisible, which makes his missions sort of a walk in the park if the park you are walking through had pitfalls and things that wanted to kill you galore. So in other words, you're walking through a park in Detroit at night as a scrawny white boy trying to hide in the shadows. The second thing is that this level brings the Flood into the game. The Flood is basically what happens when Bungie tries to mix the T-Virus from Resident Evil and the running qualities of zombies from 28 Days Later and incorporate them into their game. Needless to say, they scare the living shit out of me. Not many things in movies or video games scare me. I'm the kind of guy that played Amnesia and didn't flinch a bit. But to me, for some reason, there's nothing scarier than walking through a hallway, having my camera running out, and hearing this noise. The Flood, like zombies should, have a mob-like mentality where 1 second one of them sees you and the next you're covered up to your eyeballs in the decaying corpses of the undead elites and marines. Most people hate the Flood, but I enjoy them quite a bit. They may be annoying at times, but they can at least be scary if you're in the right mood, which is more than I can say for the fucking drones! That being said, level 7 and 8 finally have you drop into the Halo, the thing this game is all about, in an ODST drop pod. Your mission is to drop onto the ring, find the Prophet of Regret, and kill him. On his way there, Chief gets extra motivation to find his target and destroy it when he comes across a hologram where he puts Cortana down. She translates the chant into English. It is finally revealed, to the Chief anyway, that the Covenant want to activate Halo.
I shall light this holy ring, release its cleansing flame, and burn a path into the divine beyond!
Pretty much.
All throughout this mission, Pelicans drop helpful weapons and ammo, which is pretty nice. So the player finally makes it to the Prophet and kills him in the weirdest but undoubtedly the most badass way possible. He beats him to death with his bare fists, which is strangely gratifying. I don't know, maybe something to do with making the boss die to death with your bare fucking fists? After that, the massive Covenant fleet turns around and attempts to utterly destroy everything but the fillings of Master Chief's teeth. He jumps in the water to avoid pure devastation, and some I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going tentacles pull him deeper into the water.
This is not your grave, but you are welcome in it.
Before I go on, I would like to say something that when I say it, every Halo fan will know what I'm talking about. Every Halo game has this tradition of having that level. For those who I envy that don't know what I'm talking about, that level is in seemingly every Halo game, where every single developer on the team simultaneously has a mental breakdown and thinks it's a good idea to design a level that's a rat maze, you don't know where to go, and to really kick you in the ass, the level is filled to the brim with enemies. The first one had the library, the third one had the flood, hell, even 343 had that level in Halo 4, thinking that it would be just in bad taste to break tradition. And Microsoft must have been whipping Bungie extra hard this time around because there are two of them, back to fucking back. No wonder Bungie ran away from Microsoft faster than you could get to the U and fuck this game from being enraged by the level. Anyway, I digress. Levels 9 and 10 have you playing as the scrawny white boy walking through nighttime Detroit, the Arbiter again, where everyone finds out that the Prophet of Regret is dead, and the remaining Prophets have chosen the new enemy, the Brutes, to defend them instead of the Elites, because they can no longer guarantee our safety. Maybe they should have thought that one out before going toe-to-toe with what's essentially a super soldier in power armor. Morons. The Arbiter is sent to the rat maze known as a Forerunner building, where he must retrieve the index, or the icon, that's the key to activate Halo. These levels introduce quite possibly the strangest enemy I've ever seen in a Halo game. I don't even know what to call these things, so I'll just call them the giant flying shooty thingies of doom and death. They're like Sentinels on steroids. Not only do they have huge shields in the front, but it takes 1 trillion bullets to even kill them while their shields are down. Or you could just stealthy your way under them and spam bullets and plasma grenades until they explode, but then you run out of stickies and that makes me sad. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate them, I just feel strange about them. They weren't in the first game and they haven't been in any game since. Anyway, I digress. You're supposed to deactivate some shields so your ally ship can get through, and more of the giant flying shooty thingies of doom and death getting in your way. The flood comes, once again scaring the hell out of me, just making me kinda wanna run away to cling to dear life and scream for my mommy. You get about halfway through level 10 and realize that humans have showed up in an attempt to retrieve the icon before you do. Which technically they do, but instantly lose it once the Arbiter comes to defecate on their very dreams, and then the new main villain comes to defecate on the Arbiter's very dreams.
Damn!
How you doing?
Sergeant, stay down! Johnson, you all right? Johnson!
Excellent work, Arbiter. The Hierarchs will be pleased. The icon is my responsibility. What's your responsibility? Now it is mine. A bloody fate awaits you and the rest of your incompetent race. And I, Tartarus, chieftain of the brutes will send you to it. And the prophets learn of this. They will take your head when they learn. Fool. They ordered me to do it.
Then a long drawn-out cutscene with the rapey giant tentacle monster that pulled Chief down into the sea, who apparently also turns out to be Dr. Seuss's long-lost twin, seeing as how he mainly speaks in rhymes, happens, and I will summarize that for you now. Alien religious bullshit, scientific fact that Halo is a super weapon that will kill all life, alien religious bullshit, Dr. Seuss's twin calls the Arbiter a fool, and sends the two to look after the Index. Mission 11 has you play as the Chief, who is teleported in what appears to be a Covenant stronghold, fucks shit up, and the mission is over. Mission 12 is basically the same thing, but this time with the Arbiter, and apparently in between all the stabby, he apparently has time to think what Dr. Seuss said about Halo. Mission 13 has you playing as the Chief again, facing the Flood, once again having me sucking my thumb crying in the corner of a room. But other than that, the mission is the same as the last two, but this time he leaves Cortana behind because she plans to destroy the ring the same way she did the first, by blowing up a ship that was overrun by the Flood and crashed into the side of it. The last mission has you playing as the Arbiter one last time, fighting through what is now a torn-up Covenant, with the elites fighting the brutes, which once again I managed to slip by, but more easily this time, thanks to all the NPCs being distracted fighting amongst themselves for once instead of focusing on pounding my face in. The last segment of slightly challenging gameplay is an escort mission, but for once done right, since the thing you're escorting cannot die. Johnson and the Arbiter team up, Johnson piloting the giant indestructible walking spider tank with a laser for a face, and the player riding in a Banshee killing all in their path. Johnson fires the giant indestructible walking spider tank with a laser for a face at the door that the main villain locked himself in so he could activate the Halo ring so the Arbiter could breeze in and once again fuck shit up. Then a final boss fight. The boss fight was supposed to consist of the player luring the boss out so Johnson could fire a beam rifle to lower its shields. But in order to keep the large files that Playclaw makes from exploding my hard drive, I saved a beam rifle, lowered the boss's shields down myself, and killed him within a minute, and that was with me fucking around. That being said, the final boss was piss easy. After that, we're treated with 2 more cutscenes. One explaining that there are more rings out there just waiting to be fired remotely, and the other having to be the biggest cock tease in the entire history of entertainment.
We've got a new contact, unknown classification.
It isn't one of ours. Take it out.
This is Spartan 117. Can anyone hear me? Over.
Isolate that signal. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
In summary, I actually like Halo 2. Its gunplay, the main thing that any shooter, especially a first-person shooter, should focus on, was fun. The story, except for that fucking ending, was pretty good. The characters were pretty well fleshed out, and there were a few surprises and a bunch of fan service that I had a decent amount of fun with. I expected to go into this game nostalgia guns blazing and give it a 10 out of 10, but there were a few flaws with it. First being the buggers, second being that the missions felt a little bit repetitive at the end, which as long as the gameplay is good enough, which in my opinion it was, I don't mind too much. My AI teammates were a lot more useless than I remember them being, which once again I don't really mind, seeing as how the game is supposed to make you feel like a living, breathing, sentient tank. And lastly, that fucking ending! This is Flying Cyborg Raptor. I hope you enjoyed this retrospective of Halo 2, and watch out for the next episode, which will be a review on Cowboy Bebop.